You are dying, not poetically, not in a sunset lights your main way. You are dying because a shiny mortal on a flying horse tricked you into breathing fire on a lead-tipped spear, and your throat is turning into a molten necklace you did not order. Freeze frame. Let's rewind. Not to excuse it, but to make it make sense. Smash back to a cave slick with sleeping heat. Typhon snores thunder. Echidna hums an older than harvest lullaby. Your egg sweats pitch like a guilty secret trying to leave the body. A trickle of red light moves inside the shell like a heartbeat deciding whether to stay. Claws hooked like commas, writing yourself in. A lion chest that hoards air. A goat head popping from your back like a bad idea with tenure. A tail uncoils and hisses. The serpent tastes the cave for lies and finds flavor. You are a committee that arrived hungry. Spread, says Typhon, kneading the mountain. Live as if the world is your lair, Echidna murmurs, smoothing your mane. She tucks a scale behind your ear like a blessing you won't know how to spend. Above ground, olives, bells on goats, men with spears who dream about order. Above them, gods who dream about owning their dreams and each other's thunder. Your first steps set small fires. Oops, you practice fire in private. Steam, sparks. Then a long, clean exhale that turns the cave mouth into sunrise. It tastes like pennies and thunder. It tastes like wanting. You test your three selves. The lion wants verbs that break furniture. The goat wants to read the label on dew. The snake wants receipts. Outside, night drips from stones. The stars blink like watchmen caught napping. A hillside, dry as a secret. Villagers point. Someone's grandmother whispers omen, and suddenly you are the forecast. You try a smile. It looks like a map of bad options. They run. You don't chase. Not today. You curl under oleander and listen to sheep whisper grass prayers. The goat wants to gossip. The lion insists on dignity. The snake says simply, wait. Seasons loop. Winter combs ice through your mane. In spring you molt a rumor of yourself onto rocks. Summer makes your shadow crisp enough to slice bread. Autumn turns the valley gold, so even hunger looks ceremonial. Home becomes a canyon that looks like a cracked heel. You keep bones like a priest keeps books. Arranged by lesson. You establish lair rules, hand-lettered and scorch marks on stone. Don't knock before sunrise. If you're edible, declare conflicts of interest. No heroes without appointments. Some nights you scrawl your myth across the cliff in heat strokes like a god's hurried handwriting. Other nights you coil around your own fire. The goat chews phantom cud. The snake counts stars out loud until the numbers feel like teeth. The lion times his heartbeat to distant thunder as if to sync with something larger. Mortals do what mortals do with anomalies. Build a story, move in, and point at you from a safe adjective away. Monster, omen, punishment. You learn the choreography of survival. You tax the valley, soft currency of sheep, heavy coin of fear. Ribbony sacrificial goats arrive. Your goat head size, cousins. The lion is practical. The snake is logistics. When drought steals the river, you. When fever chews a child, you. When lightning kisses an olive tree, your breathing is blamed. You breathe, period. Yet the valley is not only screams. A potter leaves a bowl near your canyon, glazed in smoke, painted with a lopsided U. The snake tail is a vine. You spare her kiln because respect is a food group. A priest comes once with questions and leaves with fewer, and all his limbs. You stand near his prayers like weather that decided to listen. And there are afternoons when the world forgets you long enough to feel possible. Bees turn your mane into a private garden. Lizards sunbathe across your spine. Dragonflies stitch blue lightning between reeds. The lion heart beats steady. The goat dreams meadows. The snake reads wind letters from far mountains and sometimes says very softly, soon. You are an ecosystem with branding issues. And because the world cannot file you neatly, it files charges. Rumor walks faster than hooves. It learns shoes. It learns music. A prince stains a king's pride or the reverse, and all that ego curdles into a fix. Kill the chimera. Make the paperwork holy. Enter storybook lighting. A winged horse that never learned the word reasonable. A rider who treats the sky like it's just taller ground. Jawline sharp enough to slice olives. Smile that never met consequences and thinks that's character development. Training montage plays somewhere off screen. He falls off Pegasus 7 times. The 8th he says, I meant to. He polishes his spear until the sun feels underdressed. He tries to light a campfire and the gods send wind as a prank. He asks a priest how to kill a thing with too many philosophies. The priest prescribes faith, by which he means sharp objects. Meanwhile, you practice living, not dying. The goat watches the sky's edges. The lion learns a breath designed for patience. The snake counts to a number it can't pronounce, adds a decimal, starts again. You reorganize the lair, KonMari with fangs. A careful shelf of skulls becomes a topographic map of choices you didn't make. You keep a ribbon from a sacrificial goat because the color had the courage to be cheerful. You decide not to eat a lost boy who wanders in with a flute. He plays something clumsy and pure, and your goat head weeps into your own fur, embarrassed, satisfied. He finds you at noon because heroes believe in direct lighting. Pegasus throws a door-shaped shadow. It opens on nothing mortals deserve and everything they want. The air tastes like thunder in a white coat. He is brave, meaning he doesn't think he's edible. He dives. You roar. The valley buckles. Sheep forget their names. First pass, you swipe. The air becomes confetti. He escapes by an argument of inches and a god's thumb on the scale. Second, his spear kisses your shoulder. Your blood arrives, surprised into daylight. It has notes of iron, regret, and citrus. You breathe. Fire is your first language. You speak it with accentless contempt. Air curdles. Pegasus screams in higher vowels. Bellerophon circles. The world tightens like a belt before judgment. Third pass. He's ready. You inhale. He lowers a lead-tipped spear. Humble, dull, and disgusting when molten. He remembers a god's dream in which you were a problem set. You remember only his audacity and how it rhymes with history. You exhale. Lead becomes river. Pain blooms like history in your throat, dynasty long, empire wide. The goat panics into prayer, bleeding bargains. The lion refuses to stop breathing because stopping is for other species. The snake thrashes and tastes only you, a feedback loop of alarm. You slam a cliff that has never loved anyone and try to wear daylight like dignity. Is this justice or just the invoice for being born interesting? Echidna whispered survival as a verb. Typhon taught you, the world is ablaze. Be it or burn in it. Neither covered copes, your gentler footnotes. A shepherd standing like a twig, daring a fire. You walked around him out of respect and curiosity about the word brave. A girl who drew you without the snake. You matched her picture for a day so she could sleep. She grew up unafraid of complexity without knowing why. A goat that didn't run. You let it live, and it followed for 3 days like a polite question. On the 4th day, it left, as questions should. You are not a metaphor, yet they make you carry their groceries. Consequence? Curse? Hope with teeth. You grow in their language like a thorn. You snag their cloaks. They call it myth instead of friction. Back to noon. Back to the spear, now doing geography inside you. He dives one last time, angling for the kind of mercy mortals sing to distract from inventing the problem. Pegasus's wind rearranges the valley. Trees bow out of alignment. Clouds file amended statements. Gravity loves everything equally, and it remembers your name. You stagger through final gestures. The lion coughs coins instead of a roar. The goat bangs on an invisible door until silence answers. The snake tourniquets a wound larger than bodies understand and whispers inventory like a lullaby. Your heart, a god's jealousy with tendons, punches air, then doesn't. Silence fits like a crown. The valley exhales for the first time since you were an egg. A bee continues its small, furious life because someone must. Bellerophon lands and practices a winner's face in your glassing eyes. He will tell this differently. He'll say it was about you, not a king's lie. He'll call luck divine choice, the way people dress coincidence in moral geometry. He'll admit the afternoon you didn't chase because the wind felt like a hand on your mane and you wanted to test tenderness. He gets a parade. You get repurposed. The earth that drank you grows vines. For a century, the wine tastes faintly of forgiveness and ash and the aftertaste of alarms. Children who missed you are told not to speak nightmares in daylight. Merchants become brave again, a courage measured in receipts and unburned ledgers, but you don't exit. Chimeras never do. You become an earthenware warning on amphorae for gods who like their worship itemized. A crest on a boy's shield. He'll learn that holding and surviving are separate sports. A lintel carving that growls without sound over a door where men swear oaths they won't keep. A straw hiss, stop crying, or the Chimera will hear you. A motif which is what the living call the dead when the dead insist on lingering. Time skips. Your name gets borrowed under lab lights, stitching mice to men, men to pigs, ambition to biology. You flicker through tattoos, logos, metal bands screaming about purity's failure, mascots with snake tails that keep knocking the popcorn. An astronomer names a comet Chimera because it is many things badly behaved. It refuses to move the way math says. You're a word now. Words travel better than bodies. They slip borders and customs and the suspicious glances of priests. In softer registers, you become hope's sideways grammar, a chimera of peace, of return, of debt-free mornings. Some days that consoles you, others it feels like dying forever in smaller fonts. Still, a poet hides you in a love poem and means it. Still, a doctor whispers the word like a promise that someday a body might hold multitudes without apology. And still, children sketch you, lion orange, goat white, snake neon green. They add wings because everything beautiful gets retrofitted after it's too late. Onto the fridge you go with a magnet shaped like a sun. They call you friend and you agree because why not forgive the species that keeps repainting you? Back on your hillside, green remembers itself. Bees vote for flowers with their entire minute-long lives. Shade pays back what it borrowed from shepherd spines with interest. The river behaves like a vein again. Minnows practice being future fish. As for Pegasus and the man, success makes him think the ladder has no roof. He climbs into God air and falls. People call it hubris, like it's math instead of a heart, certain it was chosen. Pegasus keeps flying because horses don't do metaphors. They do gravity and oats. You were not chosen. You were made, and you made yourself a kind of country. You set borders with breath and revised them with appetite. You granted visas to birds who nested in your mane. You levied taxes in fear and forgave debt in music. A messy nation, yes, but yours. There is a sound left when animal becomes idea, an echo that eats its tail. Fishermen tying boats to the old pier hear a bleat, a purr, a sibilant laugh. They call it wind. Wind loves credit. Sometimes the echo catches in a bottle's throat and makes a chord the color of brass. Someone hears it and decides not to be cruel that day. Small, but scale it up and you get civilization. Inside that echo, you rehearse. Furnace with opinions, hunger, and awe. Proof the world keeps a folder labeled miscellaneous miracles. A fiasco that fed itself. Feared like truth, loved like disaster, a boundary dispute between order and possibility. Moral if one is needed, the world keeps inventing you because it keeps inventing what won't file neatly. You are the sharp edge of imagination that cuts open the bag and spills the sky. You are the meeting minutes when chaos and meaning shook hands and pretended not to be cousins. Roll credits? Almost. A woman passes your old hillside with a jug. She touches a blackened crease in the rock, still faintly warm. She hums a tune she can't remember learning. Something under the stone hums back. Magma, maybe. Or you. She doesn't tell anyone because some warmths are for the hand that finds them. Pull back. The land sleeps like it always did, tolerating plows and prayers, remembering being molten and lonely. Owls write footnotes in the margins of night. 3 faces, 1 appetite, or 3 appetites, 1 face. Multiple on purpose. Somewhere, chimera means delusion. Elsewhere, dream. Both drink from the same cup and call it theirs. Life was chaotic, expensive, hilarious like a house fire telling jokes. Heavy, bright, yours. The end is quiet in the throat, loud in the aftermath. One more breath, and you take it, even if breath is metaphor now. Even if it's only valley wind sipping across the cracked mouth of your lair, turning emptiness into a note. The note hangs, then falls into soil. Except, of course, it isn't. Begin again. Spark under a mountain. A mother half warning, half lullaby. An egg blushing with heat. You. About to be impossible again.